We are live. What is going on, everybody? Welcome. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to the stream. It is me, Chavez, and I am back with another live stream talking NBA player props over on Prizepicks. Not opposed to other player prop sites, but it seems as though Prizepicks is the favorite amongst the masses. This is what people want to see. If you want to take a look at underdog or whatever you're playing, drop those comments, drop those questions. But Prizepicks seems to rule the roost. So we're gonna keep talking Prizepicks. We're gonna keep talking player props here on the channel. I haven't seen everybody. Well, technically, I haven't seen anybody ever because this is a live stream and I don't get to see you. But yeah, it's been a minute since I've been on the stream. It's been a minute since it feels like forever, honestly. So just going through some sort of flu or something that I got on Christmas morning, and that was not ideal start to the new year for me. But feeling a little bit better makes it a little tougher to do the live streams when you aren't feeling well and when your throat hurts and when your voice isn't there, because you do a lot of talking on the live stream. But in the recorded videos, you can kind of control pretty much the whole format there. So put off live stream until I was feeling close to 100%. So I'm pretty much there, give or take a cough or a sneeze here and there. But we're back. We're talking Prizepicks. We're talking player props. We're talking new partnerships, new sponsors of the channel. A lot of good things going on here. Very excited to share all that with you. Yeah, just really happy about how the channel is taking form to start things off. But we are going to get this going. So we're going to change the format up a little bit today. So what's going to be different about today's stream is we're going to be using the Odd Shopper betting tools to kind of find some value, find some plays on the board. Now, we don't have to play any of these plays, but what I want to do is I want to show you options, and I want to show you a different way to locate player props. So we always use props.cash. Props.cash remains a partner of the channel. However, I'm open to all sorts of collaborations here on the channel, all sorts of partnerships. Odd Shopper, Stochastic.com reached out. They wanted to, work with me or test those waters, and I was very excited to accept that. So Odd Shopper, new partner of the channel. We'll get to that in a second, but we'll be using the Odd Shopper betting tools, the pick'em table, whatever is available to us at 8:42 a.m. And we'll look through everything together, much like we did in the video that I recorded yesterday, except today's live stream, and we'll get to do it in real time and see, how these lines move. So we'll use Odd Shopper. We'll take player prop questions as well, and then that'll pretty much be the stream. So yeah, a little different in terms of what tools we're using today, but the format pretty much stays the same in terms of taking questions and just digging into the player props together and trying to find the best props possible and see if we can put together a winning slip, a winning pick today. So yesterday's plays, unfortunately, did not get it done. We'll get to those in a second, but we'll go ahead and recap those. And then I don't have a whole bunch of plays that I'm looking at right now, to be honest with you. I do have Alfred Sengun on the thumbnail because he's in a good spot today. I like a couple of his player props, but outside of him, a few plays that I liked late last night have been taken off the board. And that's how it goes sometimes. Those plays aren't up there forever. So if you like one, when you see it, you better pull the trigger on it, because Prizepicks will yank it off the board real fast. So let's just get right to it. Let's just get right to the plays from yesterday. ATM, what's going on? Good morning to you. Dwayne, good morning. Jim the Judge, good morning. Good morning to you all. All right, so let's get this going. I want to just jump into yesterday's play. So talked a lot about SGA. Damn, I wish I would have taken anything but this particular prop, because he went over on PRA, fantasy points. I don't even know. I don't know if he went over points and assists and points and rebounds, but I took the over 2.5 blocks and steals. He finishes with just one, and that was a little disappointing. He was too busy dropping 40 points on the Celtics to play any defense. Got in a little foul trouble also. I didn't watch this game. I don't have League Pass, but I was keeping up with the score, and I noticed that he did get in the foul trouble. I don't know if that limited his upside. Apparently, it didn't limit his upside in terms of scoring, but you know, if you're not on the court, you can't block shots and steal passes. But we didn't get this one, and we also didn't get the over on his teammate Lou Dort. Now, looking at the box score, I got these props flipped around because Lou Dort was the one that ended with 3, 4 blocks and steals, and SGA was the one who finished with 3 3-pointers made. I mean, I don't know what to say about that. Lou Dort went 1 for 7 from 3. You're not going to go over a whole lot of lines. You're not going to score a lot of points if you're missing all those shots. He got the looks, he got the shots, he just didn't make them yesterday. So a little bit of a tough pill to swallow with Lou Dort not getting the over. 1.5 3-pointers made. He did finish with 1. You know, he made 1. But yeah, it just didn't work out for us. The only play that actually worked out for us was this Jonathan Kuminga, 4.5 rebounds. This one got bumped up to 5. You could have played it at 5. I believe he finished with 6. So Kuminga goes over rebounds. I don't know if you want to call this a sweat. I mean, he only had 1 rebound. I believe he had 1 rebound at the half, maybe 2. But he came out and he had a nice second half for the Warriors. And it was nice to see one of our plays hit. So, wow, 1 and 2 on the day. It is a little frustrating, honestly, to be completely honest with you. It's a little frustrating to go 1 and 2. I was really looking for that 2 and 1 day, 3 and 0. If we're being honest, but 2 and 1 would have been a great start to the week for us. But we go 1 and 2, and that's pretty much all there is to talk about with our player props from yesterday. Yeah, I was feeling really good about all 3 of these props. Really, I love the game environment for SGA. I thought it would be a little bit more of a competitive game. Derek White closed the gap. I mean, Derek White is on another one right now. He's playing incredibly well. I mean, he's probably, I know Jaylen Brown is the highest paid, isn't he? He has the highest contract in the NBA right now, or he's the highest paid player in the NBA, something like that. I understand his talent level, but what Derek White brings to the Celtics and how he's been able to just elevate his play, I mean, to me, he's a much more valuable asset to the Celtics at this time than Jaylen Brown, to be honest with you. That's what I feel. But yeah, that game was got out of hand for a while, and then Derek White got him back in it, and I wish it was a little closer. I wish a little bit more competitive. I really wish that SGA and Lou Dort would have came through on their player props, but they didn't, and we move on to a new day with some new plays, and that's where you come in. That's where you come in. I have a few ideas in terms of plays that I like. But for the most part, a lot of this live stream will be on you, fielding questions from you, taking player prop inquiries from you, using props.cash, using the odds shopper tools as well. So if you're unfamiliar with odds shopper, we're going to get into that today. You'll get to see the site. You'll get to see some of the tools, the pick'ems table, and you'll get to experience it firsthand live stream. So I'm excited to be sharing that with you all today. And I'm excited just to be adding another element to our player prop research here. So let's get it going. I want to just go ahead and keep moving through these slides and just share a couple more things. So odds shopper right now, newest partner of the channel. Yesterday was kind of a lot of announcements yesterday. Partnership with Stokastic.com, partnership with OddsShopper, partnership with Prizepicks. I have about 8-9 new partnerships that I will be detailing in future videos, and all of them are promo codes and things like that. It's a lot to go through, but right now, Odd Shopper is the one that I wanted to kick things off with because of what it offers and the value it brings. So there is my referral link on the screen. It's also going to be included in the live stream description as well. So Odd Shopper, a new partner of the channel, you'll be seeing a lot more of this in upcoming streams. And then, as I mentioned yesterday, I know Prizepicks is not new. I mean, I'm late to the party in terms of actually partnering up with Prizepicks. This is not one of these partners where anytime like on Prizepicks, when you open a new account, you have your referral code, and then anybody who uses that referral code, you get like promo funds or something like that. That's not what this is. This is an actual partnership with Prizepicks. So in 100% honesty, it's more lucrative for me, but you get the same benefits. So still up to $100, 100% deposit match up to $100 using my promo code, and that's going to be also included in the live stream description. So just a lot of stuff going on. Over on my channel, and just creating new partnerships for the new year is something that I really wanted to do, that I've been wanting to do, and really just continuing to expand and just collaborate with as many awesome companies, not shitty companies, awesome companies as I possibly can. So we're gonna go ahead and head on over to Prizepicks. I'm gonna go ahead and share the Prizepicks desktop here. So we're going to start kicking around some player props. I do want to kick things off with Sengun. I think he's in a good spot today for a couple of reasons. Number one, no Tari Eason today. And we talked about this in one of the previous live streams, but Tari Eason has been really cutting into Sengun's upside. Not over the last couple of games. Sengun's been crushing it. He's kind of up and down. I don't know what to think about Sengun, but I recognize this. When Tari Eason came back, it really did limit. We were seeing some really low outputs from Sengun, but there won't be any Tari Eason tonight. There's no Dylan Brooks. Dylan Brooks is still on the injury report. So Rockets are going to be down a couple of important pieces tonight versus the Nets. And I think this is going to be a good matchup for Sengun. I think he's in a good spot to go over a couple of lines. So I do want to start, kicking around some player props with him. But from there, up to y'all where we go from there, what player props you want to dig into. And then I think we'll dig into the Odd Shopper after we field a few questions and see what's popping on the Odd Shopper pick'em table. See what player props are getting the most movement over there. So popping back into the stream here, the chat. Let's see. Enrique, what's going on? Good morning. King of the Fall, Clay unders. Did he go under any of his lines yesterday? I didn't watch that game, but I think I know Curry went over his taco. Thank God. So did Ja. The NHL taco was not that good, man. Not that good. So Clay finished with 20 PRA, finished with 15 points, only 25 fantasy points. So not the best of outputs from Clay. Jim says Bam rebounds are 11 on Prizepicks. Is that a good pick? We can dig into that. Halliburton rebounds, Murray rebounds, DeJounte Murray rebounds, Jalen Duren points rebounds at 25 on Prizepicks, Zubac rebounds, and Ivy, Bam, and Bay rebounds. A lot of rebound props here. All right, let's do it. So I'm gonna pull up Alpi and just kind of see what Prizepicks has available right now. So the one prop that I was really looking at, it did get bumped up, was this rebounds and assists. Now it is trending at 15.5 on a lot of books. So 14.5 was what Prizepicks had it. Now it's been bumped up to 15. So if you want to look at this as still getting it at a lower line, you can. Again, no Tari Eason tonight. No Dylan Brooks. I think the Tari Eason absence is much more important when factoring in Sengun's props for today. And then the other one were his blocks and steals. So looking at the over on both of these, I'm going to go ahead and select the over on the 15 rebounds and assists right now, even though I saw it at 14 and a half. I think 15 is still playable for Sengun. I don't know why I said it like that. Let's see. We're just going to head over to the rebounds prop because there are a lot of rebound numbers, rebound props in the chat. So let's just scroll through. Was it Halliburton rebounds? Let's see. Murray rebounds. Bay rebounds. A lot of rebounds. Bam, right? 11 rebounds. There it is. All right, so those are 6. I'm going to take out Sengun's rebounds and assists for now, just to make room for another player. Make sure I got most of those Zubac rebounds and Zubac rebounds. All right, we're going to do all the rebound props now. Where's Zubac? There he is. So, welcome into the live stream. If you're just coming in, hit that like button on your way in. If you don't like what you see, hit it twice on the way out, as I say. All right, so here are some rebound props. Now, one thing that'll help me out when looking at these questions, if you all want to put obviously the player name, the player prop, or the line, and then what you're looking at, if you're looking at the over or under. So if you want me to look at a rebound prop for Bam and you like the over on it, put that in the chat as well, because then it'll help when we start breaking this down over on props.cash. It'll, we can kind of create a case for the over, for the under, based off what you want. So I'm going to assume we like the overs on these. If I'm wrong, let me know in the chat. But for now, we're gonna stick to this. We're gonna stick to the overs for these rebounding props, and we're gonna head over to props.cash. So I already have Sengun pulled up. I was looking at his steals and blocks. Now, I think yesterday was a really good example of game logs and odds not always lining up with the output, with the actual result of the game, because both SGA and Dort were in fantastic spots to go over. We got favorable odds. We had positive game logs. They just didn't get it done. So while it's very tempting to take a player based off those numbers, it doesn't always work out. It's not 100%. It's not a foolproof type of industry where just because you see 4 green bars in a row means that it's going to keep going. So, and vice versa, you see some numbers that are looking ugly doesn't mean that's going to continue. So I don't know how many new faces get involved in player props every day. I don't know how fast that industry is growing, but I'm sure there are a lot of disappointment. There's a lot of disappointments, a lot of pointing props out there for people who assume that a player is going to crush or do a certain thing based off one game or something like that. But that's why we try to dig into it as much as possible. It's not a sure-proof plan, but the more you know, the better off you are in terms of building out your slip. So what I was liking for Sengun were his odds, favorable odds towards the over. And then you have 5 games straight of 2 or more blocks and steals. So 100% hit rate over his last 5 games and a 70% hit rate over his last 10 games. No head-to-head matchups this season with the Nets, but last season he did play them twice and he put up 2 total blocks and steals in those 2 games. So averaging just 1. Different team, different player. Ime being the new coach in Houston changes the atmosphere, changes the mindset, changes the direction of that organization. So I don't really want to look at last year and focus on that, especially with so much change that went on in the organization. Sometimes you can find a team that doesn't change year after year. So last year's numbers are pretty much, on point with what you're getting this season. But the Rockets, I feel, maybe a bit of a different story based on all the movement they had in the offseason. But Sengun, nonetheless, is in a good spot with his points. Oh my God, with his blocks and steals. Now, I was looking at his rebounds and assists. Like I mentioned, this is at 15.5. This is trending at 15.5 on other books. Getting it at 15 over on Prizepicks. 14.5 was the original line. It got bumped up to 15. But we can move this down one number. It doesn't change anything with his head-to-head matchups against the Nets. But let's see what it does in terms of his let's see what it does in terms of his last 10. So the only thing it really changes is his game versus Philly, where he did push it at 15. So not the best of numbers over his last 10 games. He's only gone over this in 3 of those 10 games. I'm curious to take out Tari Eason and see what that looks like. So slightly better, not like 0 to 100, but you are getting an increase in his hit rate from 30 to 40%. And if you want to factor in this push, we can even take that out. So it's 4 out of his last 9 games, or you can count that as a win and say 50% hit rate. So from 30 to 50 when Tari Eason is out of the lineup this season, Sengun has gone over his rebounds and assists. So those are the 2 plays I was liking for Sengun. I wanted to share those with you. All right, we're going to go to rebounds, and we're going to start off with, who was it? Anybody really. DeJounte Murray, Saddiq Bey. So let's look at Saddiq Bey's rebounds. This is not looking great. Minus 128 on the under, over, plus 100 on the over. While his last 10 games look really good, the odds don't really look all that favorable. Projections look solid too. So you got some conflicting information here. You got projections that are in favor of the over. You got game logs that are also in favor of the over, but you also have odds that are telling you that this is playable for the under. So I don't know what to do with this one. He has been rebounding his ass off, though. I mean, double-digit boards in 1, 2, 3, 4 games. With Jalen Johnson back in the lineup, Jalen Johnson's been back for what, 3 games? These 3 games here, or maybe even it was just these last 2 games. But even with Johnson back in the lineup, doesn't seem to be hurting his rebounding numbers too much. So Saddiq Bey, 6.5 rebounds. There's a lot to dig into here. If you want to take a look at his head-to-head matchups with the Thunder, there's only 1 game this year to look at, and it was back on, I can't read those little numbers, November 6th. Pulled down 8 boards. Now, I want to say this is without Jalen Johnson in the lineup. Jalen Johnson was out for like a month, I think, with that thumb injury, wrist injury, whatever he had. But he's back. So let's take Jalen Johnson out. Yeah, so let's take a look at his last 10 games without Jalen Johnson in the lineup. 6 out of those 10 games, and then with Jalen Johnson in the lineup, 7. So it doesn't matter if Jalen Johnson's in or out, because Saddiq Bey is grabbing boards. It's up to you. If you want to play this at 6.5 and play the over on it, despite what the odds are saying. I mean, however you want to look at the game logs are telling a different story than what the odds are telling. But that's Saddiq Bey's rebounds. Let's head over to DeJounte Murray rebounds as well. Damn, it's already 9 o'clock. Oof. All right, 4.5 rebounds for DeJounte Murray. Gone over this in 3 straight games. He's gone over this in 5 of his last 10 and 4 out of his last 5. Head-to-head matchups with the Oklahoma City Thunder. Failed to reach this in his only game this season. So he was 0 for 1 in 2023-24. And he was 1 for 2 in 2 games played last year. Projections look pretty solid. 5.64 rebounds are his projections. So it does correlate with what the odds are saying. I mean, this one looks pretty good for DeJounte Murray. Yeah, so rebounds look strong. Odds are okay. I mean, minus 115 odds are not incredible numbers. They're better than plus. Minus is better than plus. I mean, it's in favor of the over. So slight juice in favor of the over for DeJounte Murray. So you got your two Hawks there. If you want to look at his RA, that's kind of it's kind of a coin flip with his odds. 9.5 RA. If you're getting this at 9 on Prizepicks, it looks a lot better because he's probably more likely to push 9 than to go under 9. I mean, if we drop it down, we can see that if this were at 9, he only failed to go over that in 4 out of those 10 games, with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games hitting the number or going over it. PRA for DeJounte Murray, also getting a coin flip odds here. So projections still look good for Murray across the board. 31.66 PRA, rebounds look good, and then his RA sitting at 10.1, which is the exact number you want him to hit for you. If you're playing this at 9.5, you need him to get you 10. If you're playing it at 9, if we were to get it at 9, you still want 10, but 9 doesn't kill you. It only pushes the prop. All right, so we got Bay, we got Murray. Let's talk about Halliburton rebounds. We'll go Halliburton rebounds, Zubac rebounds, and who else was there? Bam. All right, Halliburton rebounds. A prop for Halliburton that was trending was the under on his 3-pointers made. Do you think people believe that he's a really good 3-point shooter? Like, I've seen a lot of people play the over on his threes. I mean, these aren't even close. Like, these games aren't even close. Like, he needs to hit 4. He hasn't even come close. In 2 games, he's gone over. So this one was standing out to me. Maybe he's a volume 3-point shooter. Sometimes when guys take a lot of threes, fans, the public tends to think they're a good 3-point shooter. And they just take a lot of threes, and they, by default, they'll make a lot because they take a lot of shots, but they're not percentage-wise a good 3-point shooter. I mean, he's averaging 8 3-pointers a game. So it could be one of those situations where he just takes a lot of shots, but he's not making them from 3. So that one was standing out to me. But let's look at his rebounds, since that was a question. He needs 5 rebounds to go over this line. Projections are not in favor. Hold on. Yes, they are. Sorry. Slight favor of for the over here on his rebounds. Minus 122 under, minus 103 on the over. He's gone over this in two games, 2 back-to-back games. He's gone over this in back-to-back games. 2 back-to-back games. That's redundant. 3 out of the last 5 games and only 4 out of the last 10 games. Head-to-head matchup with the Bucks. Now, this is one of those situations where we get a player who plays a certain team very well. Halliburton has rebounded pretty well versus the Bucks in the last 4 games, and these are all games played this season. We got a November matchup, a December matchup, and then they played on January 1st. So they played a couple of days ago, and he snagged 9 boards. So despite what his 10-game log is showing you, his history versus the Bucks looks very strong, despite what the odds are saying here. So I completely understand if you were looking at taking the over on Halliburton's rebounds, because his numbers versus the Bucks, they're pretty goddamn good. But yeah, he's averaging 6.8 rebounds in his 4 games played versus Milwaukee this season. So that is pretty strong. That is very strong. Let's head on over to the clips and let's take a look at Zubac's rebounds. And let's see what this is looking like. So over his last 5 games, he's gone over in 4. Over his last 10, he's gone over in 6. So 80% hit rate and 60% hit rate in those time frames. High mark, 20 rebounds. That's his ceiling, 20 rebounds. His floor is 3 in those last 10 games. Taking on the Phoenix Suns. Got some big bodies in that front court with Nurkic and Eubanks. But again, we always have to be weary of the Lue effect, the Ty Lue effect. Zubac getting his playing time in the fourth quarter. Maybe you look at this and say, can he get this done for you in 3 quarters or 3.5 quarters, something like that? But I think with the big front court in Phoenix, he ought to get his normal run, right? Phoenix can run small, but I feel like if they ran small, the Clips would just eat them up inside, right? So I don't know. Maybe Zubac is not going to be in, in a position where he gets, sat down early. But nonetheless, minus 108 on the over, minus 115 on the under, projected for 10.76 rebounds here. Personal history. His personal history versus the Suns. Historically versus the Suns. Head-to-head matchup versus the Suns. 3 out of those 1, 2, 3, 6, 7 games. But how many games are played this season? None. So no games played. So really, he hasn't played. Have these 2 teams played? He just hasn't played in those games. I feel like these teams have played before. Maybe he just didn't play it. So based off this, it's showing you 3 out of those games he's gone over. But no history this season, no games this season to look at for Zubac. So we really just got to look at his last 10 games, his last 5 games, and then what he's done in those games and in his projections as well. But I mean, the odds aren't really helping us out here. They're kind of just coin flip odds, still getting solid projections. And then you're also getting a high ceiling with Zubac, 20 rebounds, man. PRA, I was looking at his PRA late last night. I didn't pull the trigger on any props. I kind of wish I would have put Scotty Barnes in a quick slip last night when those props were released. His 3-pointers made were at a 1.5 line. We took the over on it last time. He got us 4. It's not on the board anymore. So if you were able to get that one in, I thought that was a pretty strong line. The problem when you look at the lines early or late in the night is oftentimes you don't have enough plays to make a slip. So while you might like one play, you can't just play one play on Prizepicks. So you either have to force some shitty picks in there to create a slip, or you just got to wait until something else drops that you want to, team that play up with. Now it's kind of the case last night. I didn't really see a lot on the board that I like. So I figured that Scotty Barnes line would get taken off the board. But if it were to get put back up at 1.5, I think that's a fine play. Zubac points, rebounds, and assists. This is even money. No heavy juice to either side. I don't know what his PRA is on Prizepicks. I'm assuming it's in or around the same number on props.cash. So on Prizepicks, it's sitting at 21. And on props.cash, it's sitting at 21.5. So when we drop this down to 21, it doesn't really change anything over his last 5 games. Let's see what it does over his last 10. Doesn't really change too much. I mean, there's just one game that's impacted by that line movement. So it goes from a 50% hit rate to, I mean, you can mark this as a 60% hit rate. I don't know what the percentage is, 5 out of the last 9 games. What is that, like closer to 60%? So I was kind of kicking the tires on that. Steals and blocks for Zubac as well. There you go. All right. Bam. Where are you, Bam? So no Jimmy Butler tonight. Why am I not finding Miami? There we go. So no Jimmy Butler tonight. Bam should be a pretty popular play. Looking at his rebounds, set to 11 on Prizepicks, not 10.5. So this one was getting, I'm pretty sure people were hammering the shit out of this and books were just having to move it up. So from 10.5 to 11 is what you're getting it on Prizepicks. Why are his... So this is weird. Props.cash has his rebounds at 11.5, but they're only showing 10.5 here. So projections have him getting 11 rebounds, which is more than 10.5, which is a push. But we want to take a look at this a little closer. Last 5 games, he's gone over this, getting you no fewer than 11 boards per game. Let's take Jimmy Butler out. If you want to take a look at what, geez, man, how many freaking names are on this injury report? All right, I had to like keep scrolling and shit. All right, so when Jimmy Butler's not in the lineup, we could take a look at the last 10 games played. Bam has gone over this in 5 games. He's gone under this in 5 games as well. Last 5 games without Jimmy Butler play, or without Jimmy in the lineup, 4 out of 5 games. So 50 and 80% hit rate. With Jimmy in, sometimes a player in or out does not make that big of a difference. It is a very easy way to create a favorable narrative. Like if you're trying to make a case for a player, I mean, you can say, oh shit, without Jimmy Butler in the lineup, Bam's gone over this line 50% of the time, lock it in. But it's the same numbers when he's not in the lineup that they are when he's in the lineup. So in this particular case, it doesn't really move the needle too much. He's still going over at the same rate. Sometimes when a player is out, the usage does go up for other players. Like when Ja was out, Desmond Bane was the main scorer on that team. And then Ja comes back in and Marcus Smart is back from injury. And all of a sudden, Desmond Bane is not scoring 30 points a night anymore. He's scoring 24, 23. So in some instances, it does have a big impact. But in this one, it just feels like Bam goes out there and does what he does, regardless of who's in the starting 5 with him. But nonetheless, this is a pretty good line, even though it's been bumped up to 11. I wouldn't touch it at 11.5. I mean, it's still a pretty tough matchup versus Davis. I mean, you know, LeBron likes to crash the boards. But I just feel like people overlook Bam sometimes. He's a smaller 5. He's not a true traditional 5, and he's not a big center. He just continues to go out there and get double-digit boards. So I think he's in a good spot today. And we all know the kind of games that Anthony Davis is capable of, but we also know the kind of games that he, you know, the other kind of games he's capable of, which is going out there and putting up stinkers, not grabbing boards, turning the ball over, missing a bunch of free throws, you know, that kind of shit. So, you have that to factor in as well. But Bam on his rebound, sitting at 11 over on Prizepicks. If you want to play the bump, I think it's okay to play the bump because he's gone over that in 3 out of his last 5 with and without Jimmy. But I loved it. I would have liked to have played it at 10.5. 10.5 is the better line. All right. So we went through quite a few plays. We went through 6 rebounding props over on Prizepicks. So here's what we went over in our first round. Alperen Sengun over his blocks and steals. Halliburton over rebounds because he plays the Milwaukee Bucks very well. But odds are telling you to take the under on this one. So it's up to you. DeJounte Murray been rebounding his ass off with and without Jalen Johnson in the lineup. Well, actually, that was Saddiq Bey. But we looked at both of these guys. So odds are not in favor of Saddiq Bey or DeJounte Murray. But game logs look strong. Projections look strong. So up to you. I'm just kind of undecided on these. I don't like when we get conflicting information. You're going to have to make a choice if you want to play those two, though. Bam over on his rebounds. I don't mind taking the over on 11. I think he can get you 11. But at 10.5, obviously, that was the better line. And then Zubac with his rebounds. Everything looked real good for him. Again, we talk about the Ty Lue impact if he gets yanked. if he sees a short run in the fourth quarter or third quarter or whatever, that obviously is going to impact his upside. Unless he gets this done in 3 quarters versus the Phoenix Suns, then you don't have to worry about anything. Then it is a no sweat for you. So first 6 down. Let's see what we got going on. I'm just going to scroll back up through the chat. I know I always miss a lot when we're going through these plays, so try to get back to the chat and see if I overlooked anything. What's going on, Deontay? I'm just trying to see anybody getting my shout outs in here. The gang, John Sams, JKK. What's going on, everybody? Welcome in. Darrell, what's going on, sir? Good morning. Happy New Year to you all. I don't think I said Happy New Year to everybody. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to everybody. 3 days into the new year. Hope it's treating you well. Hope the new year is off to a fine start. All right. I tell you what, I want to spend a few minutes over on OddsShopper and just kind of see what we got going on the Pick'ems table. So I went through a lot of this in yesterday's video. Now, listen, a lot of these plays that you're going to see on this Pick'ems table, you may not like them, and that's cool. But the one thing about these tables, about these tools over here on OddsShopper, is that it just gives you a different set of data to look at. So we're not looking at game logs here. We're not looking at historical performances. We're looking at positive, expected value, win percentage rate, and then true odds. So those are different data points than we've looked at before. But the more options you have, the more plays you have at your disposal, the better things are going to be, because you can build different lineups. You can build stronger, more, higher upside types of lineups. So we can also talk about plays that are not on just Prizepicks. I mean, better, jock market, sleeper, underdog. If you play on any one of those plays, we can pull up the Pick'ems table for any one of those formats and dig into some of the plays that are being thrown at us. But for today, we're just going to stick with Prizepicks because we're going to keep it on trend. And then we're going to take a look at NBA. We can look at NFL, NBA, NCAA basketball. We only have one more football game left in the college football season, so it should be a fun one. I'd love to see Washington hang 40 on Michigan. I don't think it'll happen. But, I mean, I don't think people saw Michael Penix throwing for 500 yards against the Longhorns. He toasted their ass. I'm in Austin. I live in Austin. I wouldn't necessarily say I'm a UT fan. I'm originally from Houston. I'm more of a U of H fan, Houston teams fan. But living in Austin, I'm surrounded by the burnt orange. So it was a big deal here when they made the college football playoffs. And that was a very, very heavily watched game in Austin. So, all right. So here's the Prizepicks Pick'em table over on OddsShopper. Here are some plays that are standing out in terms of positive EV, expected win, and true odds. So were you guys looking at Chris Dunn assists? Was that ever a play that you were looking at? If probably not. Chris Dunn is not a household name, but according to OddsShopper, based off these numbers, the under is in play on his assist, under 5.5 assists, getting a 57% win rate here. And true odds minus 131 compared to the book odds at 119. This Jared Allen rebound prop. So something I've learned with this tool is sometimes these players don't really make sense to you when you first see them, because you're thinking of past performances. Jared Allen has been killing it. He has been crushing rebounds. He has been crushing points, PR, PRA. The last time he was on this table, OddsShopper was in favor of his under on his points at 17.5, and he finished with 15. And so it was one of those plays where I thought, this thing is crazy. Can't go under on Jared Allen. He's on a heater. Well, he didn't get it done. And so here's another example of that, where we sometimes have to forget recency bias, and we just got to focus on what the numbers are telling us. If you are not a numbers driven person, that is 100% cool. It does allow you another option in how to research and how to build slips. But Jared Allen, under his 12.5 rebounds, is a solid play here. 56% chance to go under this line with true odds at minus 126. I understand he is playing against the Washington I almost called them the Washington Capitals. That is a team, right? Washington Capitals. Washington Wizards is the team I'm trying to think of. It is a cake matchup for him. However, you know, it is giving you something to think about here. LeBron James under rebounds at 7.5. Denny Avdia under his rebounds at 6.5. So all these numbers are getting positive EV, you know, and as you scroll through, the EV gets less and less. That doesn't make it a bad play, it just makes it not as good of a play. So there's our pick'em table here. If I was gonna play one of these, I would roll with Chris Dunn under his assist, since that one's getting the highest expected win rate right now. And I kind of just want to take the under on Miles Turner in spite of, you know, I'm just like a spiteful bitch right now because he didn't come through for me the other day when I picked the over on his rebounds and assists. So kind of want to just be like, F you, Miles Turner, under on your points, because the numbers say that's what we're supposed to do. 18.5 is a lot versus the Milwaukee Bucks. But that's another play you can look at too. So those are some plays that are standing out. Just again, we'll scroll through this one more time. If you wanted to take another quick glance at the table, if you want to throw some of these into your lineup, I mean, feel free to do so. And then we're going to let the Prizepicks optimizer build out a quick slip for us. So again, I'm not saying you have to play this. I'm not saying that it's, you know, a guaranteed lock that these plays are going to hit. There's no such thing. Especially the more slips you build, you know, the more picks that are in your slips, the harder. I don't have to tell you that. You already know that. So here, if we build a flex for Prizepicks, NBA player prop flex, these are the 6 plays that are being put into a slip. Under Halliburton, we talked about Halliburton threes, right? So that's kind of cool to see that one up there. Turner under on points. Avdia under his 6.5 rebounds. LeBron James under 7.5 rebounds. Jared Allen under 12.5, and then Dunn under 5.5. So if one of those plays, you say, hey, I don't like one of those plays, like you're like LeBron James against Miami, he's gonna crush. That's his former team. If you want to play your narratives there, we can take him out. We can take LeBron James out. We can keep this at 5. Or if there's another play over here that you like, we can put that in. So you can build up to a 6. But again, look at these plays. If you want to put these in a slip, you can do that. Like literally do that right now if you want to. Chris Dunn under assists, Allen under rebounds, Avdia under rebounds, Turner under points, and Halliburton under 3-pointers made. A lot of unders. I talked about this in yesterday's video though. I mean, unders are 50% of your options. You can go over, you can go under. Taking the under on plays is not a bad thing. I've had a lot of losing slips in my 3 years playing Prizepicks. So a lot of losing slips playing overs. So unders are in play for sure. They're not fun. It's scary to take it under. We can create all these scenarios in our head. Oh, a player gets on a heater. Oh, somebody gets hurt. Then this player plays more minutes. Oh, the coaching staff likes this player, whatever. And then we talk ourselves into playing those overs a little bit more because we already painted this negative scenario around unders, but unders are in play. Unders hit. There's a lot of value with the unders. I'm not saying you always have to play them, but I am saying you should look into some unders from time to time. So I just wanted to share the Odds Shopper entry builder with you. Share the Odds Shopper, the positive EV bets tool as well. I have been using this last few days and just trying to create better slips, and it's definitely opened my eyes up to different plays and just helped me build better slips. I was one Paolo Banchero play away yesterday from a clean sweep, a 25x. And it didn't work out, so I doubled up. But a lot of those plays were taken off the optimizer. Yesterday, we talked about in the video, I think mentioned Jonas Valanciunas under his PRA yesterday. He finishes with 23, and that was a play from the Odds Jam table. So just because the play on surface doesn't look like it's gonna hit, oh man, that's a bad play. I think sometimes you do have to pay attention to those numbers and pay attention to those expected win rates, because they're there for a reason. So add that to your research process. I think it'll help make better slips, to be honest with you. All right. I don't want to turn this live stream into like a fucking infomercial, but I do want to share, like, when I have a new partner on the channel, I want to share that with you all. I'm excited to be partnering up with these companies. And I want to share that with you all, but I definitely don't want to make this like an infomercial where I'm hard selling it. You got the referral link. If it's something you're interested in, you know what to do. If it's not, disregard it. No big deal. So, all right, let's take a few more player prop inquiries, and then we're going to wrap this live stream up. All right, let's see. I'm going to scroll all the way back down and see anything I missed here. Let's see. Das Hust. Or is it the Schust? Welcome. I like that avatar, man. I like that avatar. All right, let's see here. Colin Sexton points. Trey, JK says Trey's getting 30 tonight. All right. I tell you what, against the Thunder, that's not a bad spot. Thunder might be looking at a hangover after having such a great game against the Celtics. It's just like, we see this in sports all the time. Like, big win. It's hard to follow up a big win with another big win with another big win. So sometimes that drop off is right around the corner. All right, let's see. What did I miss? Kawhi rebounds and assist. Ivy rebounds and assist. I'm going to clear this board. So let's go rebounds and assist. Y'all want a scary rebounds and assist? How about the under on Kuzma's rebounds and assist? I'm not basing this off the 5-game log, but I'm basing it off the numbers. Under on Kuzma's rebounds and assists. I'll throw that one in there. Kawhi. Where are you? Kawhi. And Ivy? All right. Started off right there. DK said 30 for Trae Young. Where are you? There you go. All right. What else you got? Let's see. Giannis over rebounds and assists. Yeah, let's do all rebounds and assists. Fuck it. Rebounds and assists. The gang wants to take a look at that. Let's see. 22,000 people are on Bam's rebounds. That's another way to look at it, John. Fade the public, right? I got to be honest with you. When I first started doing player prop videos, one of the first things I did in terms of my research process is I would watch other YouTube channels. First of all, I didn't know what I was doing. I was just trying to create stuff. But I was just watching everybody's channels and I was like, oh, I'm gonna play that play. Oh, I'm gonna play that play. And I noticed that a lot of the same players are just kind of circulating around the player prop industry. And then it was like, you aren't really like, this isn't one of those things where you should do what everybody else is doing. You should play the best plays. And so I stopped watching so much content before I made my video because I don't want to be influenced by anything. I want to have a clean, fresh slate. I want my research to be just clean in my own research and not be like swayed by anybody's opinion. Then I'll go back and watch videos and see like what people are doing. But because you brought that up, John, 22,000 people on Bam's rebounds. Fading the public is definitely another way to go in terms of, building out slips. You can definitely do that one for sure. Let's see here. Merry New Year's, my guy. Just reading comments. What about the over on Jordan Poole rebounds? What's going on, dude? Love? Siakam under PRA. What's going on? Nate? All right. PRA. Siakam. Toronto looks different. I like this new look they got. I like Quickly. In Toronto. I know Barrett's there as well. But I feel like Quickly was probably the piece they wanted the most out of those two guys. If he could stay out of foul trouble, I think Quickly would be a good fit there. He's just scoring. He's instant scoring off the bench or wherever they play him. I like that. All right, so Siakam under, Trey over, Ivy. I guess we're going Ivy over and Kawhi over. Colin Sexton points. Jordan Poole rebounds. Colin Sexton. Yeah, I remember when he was in Cleveland and him and Garland formed that backcourt Sexland. I don't think that took off. Well, first of all, they kept getting hurt, so they were never like in the backcourt together. But we say Poole rebounds. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So they were never in the backcourt together, but Sexland was the name of the duo for them. Pretty cool name. All right. Let's do this. Let's head over to props.cash. I wasn't able to get Jordan Poole on the board because I'm already at max, but we'll definitely look him up. I won't forget. In fact, we're just going to start with Jordan Poole, just so I know for sure we won't forget him. So let's head up to Washington and Cleveland. Let's take a look at Jordan Poole. We'll take a look at Kuzma as well because I'm interested in looking at the under on his rebounds or rebounds and assists. But for Jordan Poole, 2.5 rebounds for Jordan Poole. -120 on the under, +104 on the over, projected for 2.96. So conflicting info here, projections and the odds. It's gone over this in 5 out of his last 10 games. Damn, these 2 games he didn't record a rebound at all. Head-to-head matchup versus Cleveland. They played no times this year. So these 2 games were played as a Warrior, different role, different team. So last 10 games doesn't look all that great. 50% hit rate, 60% hit rate over his last 5. So you can look at this in a way where he's starting to get it going. His hit rate's increasing. But I don't know. This one's really not looking good to me. What else for Jordan Poole? Look at his points at 17.5. Oof. Assist. I don't know if this is on Prizepicks. If it is at 3.5, that's a pretty strong number there, -140. PRA, kind of a coin flip with his odds, projected for 24.35. So he's projected for slightly under this line. So not a whole lot right there to like for Jordan Poole. There you go. 3-pointers made. Eesh. Yeah, so rebounds are always in play for him because they're so low. I don't believe his rebounds are ever more than 2.5. I feel like every time his rebound line is on Prizepicks, it's at 2.5. The line doesn't move. I'd be curious to see if it does move after a game where he goes over. So, was it 2.5 here? He gets 4. And then he, was it 2.5 here again? And he got 4 again. Did they bump it up here and it gets you 0 and it goes back to 2.5? You know, like I'm curious how heavily it fluctuates, but 2.5 is pretty consistent from what I've seen for Jordan Poole. I'm not really liking this one, to be honest with you, for Jordan Poole. Completely understand like why you would play it, because it is such a low line. And honestly, I've played the under on rebound props that were in a good spot to go under, and only to watch the fucking ball like bounce directly into somebody's hands. Like that's how easy you can get a rebound. You don't have to crash the board. You don't have to have a nose for the glass. That's BS. You can literally just be standing there and the ball just bounces to you. That's how easy it is to get a rebound. So it's possible for Jordan Poole to grab 3 boards and him not like crash the glass hard or like get into the paint and get, you know, get physical. He could just be like in or around that area and come up with the board. It's that simple. So that's what I've seen when I pick the under on rebound. That's how I feel it happens. I'm like, oh, when I pick the over on a rebound and prop, these dudes are like not anywhere near the glass. They're being taken away from the paint. And then when I go under, these dudes are just getting like the easiest rebounds. All right, so I wanted to talk about Kyle Kuzma under his 10.5 rebounds and assists. I said this is scary to take the under on. And the reason I say that is Kyle Kuzma is the highest usage player on this team. The best player on this team. Can you be the best player on a bad team? He's a good scorer. He's a good player, man. Like Kuzma's a good player. He's on a bad team. He's probably doing more on this team than he would be doing if he were on a winning team. But he could do a lot of things in a game. And that's why I say it's a little scary to take the under on his line, because he does a little this, does a little that. Over his last 10 games, he's been right there at 10.5, right? I mean, he's gone under in 5 games. He's gone over in 5 games. Over his last 5 games, he's gone over this in 3 out of those 5 games. He's projected for 11.64 rebounds and assists. But the odds are telling you that the favor is towards the under, and his head-to-head matchups with the Cleveland Cavaliers, Guardians, last 2 games, these games don't count this year, but historically he does not play this team well. And in Cleveland is not giving up a ton of boards per game. So I was looking at the under on his 10.5 rebounds and assist line. That's one that I threw in there on Prizepicks. But that's another one you can consider. I want to talk about this Trae Young point prop. DK said he's throwing up 30 tonight. We weren't really looking at Trae Young, but his line's at 27.5. His over is at 120. His minus is minus 105 for the under. I really butchered that. Minus 120 to the over, minus 105 to the under. Projected for 30. He's gone over this in 8 out of his last 10 games. Upside of 40, floor of 21. Taking on the Thunder, who are coming off a huge win against the Celtics, where SGA put up, I'm going to look it up right now. SGA put up 36, 6, and 7 for 49 PRA. We saw Josh Giddey play well. We saw Holmgren play well. Despite Lou Dort not hitting shit from 3, he played fairly well. Could be a spot where the Thunder kind of fall back down to earth a little bit. And Trae Young is on a heater at home. This is a really good spot for him. I definitely understand why you would be looking at the over. Not even factoring in odds, not even factoring in projections, just taking what we know and basing it off that. Then we factor in projections, then we factor in odds, then we factor in defensive rankings, and it starts to look like a pretty solid play if you wanted to take the over on Trae Young, 27.5 points. The only reason I would, I was just thinking about all the tacos from last season. I was gonna say, if this was a Tuesday, I wouldn't be touching Trae Young's points because they would definitely be making this a taco. Stay away from that one. Colin Sexton, points, sitting at 17.5. Projected for 14.5, so slightly below. Your odds are coin flip here. You're not getting heavy juice, heavy movement to either side. But Colin Sexton has been on another level, regaining his form. Do y'all watch Utah Jazz games like on League Pass? The Utah Jazz commentators keep referring to Colin Sexton as the young bull. I don't know if Colin Sexton requested that to be called the young bull or that's the name they gave him. But the whole entire telecast, they kept calling him the young bull. So it kind of turned into a cartoon. They didn't just say his name. They just kept calling him young bull, which was kind of funny. But he's a young bull apparently, and he's gone over this line in 3, 4, 5, 8 out of the last 10 games. He's gone over this in 3 out of the last 5 games. So getting very strong hit rates here. Head-to-head matchup with the Detroit Pistons. Who did they beat? The Pistons. They won a game, right? They didn't beat the Rockets. Who did they beat? They snapped their losing streak, right? All right, I can't find it. Anyway, one game played against them this season, he put up 19 points, so that's a good point there. I'm just curious as to why his odds are not more in favor of the over on this one. He only played 18 minutes in his last game versus the Dallas Mavericks. He only scored 8 points back on the first. Oh, because they blew out the Mavs. They won by 37 points. So, yeah, that'll do it. That'll do it. That'll cut your night short real fast when you win by 30. But outside of that blowout, he's been hitting his numbers pretty consistently. So, yeah, I just wish we had better odds here. But I like what I'm seeing here. I like the fact that Detroit is hemorrhaging points per game. I mean, bottom of the league in points allowed. So that's looking like a strong play. Colin Sexton on his points. What else was there? Siakam under PRA. Ivy and Kawhi. So let's look at Jordan Ivy. Jaden Ivy. Every time I get a name wrong, I think of that Key and Peele episode where they're just like doing the funny ass college football names, like the intros. It's like, how do they come up with all those names? It's like probably pretty easy. I just make up names every time I do a live stream, just getting people's names wrong and shit. So probably much easier when you're getting paid like $1 million an episode, right? A little bit more motivation there. All right, Jaden Ivey, what was his rebounds and assists? We were looking at rebounds and assists for Jaden Ivey, currently sitting at 7.5 on Prizepicks. So it's matching what we're seeing on Props.cash. Gone over this in 4 out of his last 5 games, and he's gone over this in 7 out of his last 10 games. Pretty favorable matchup for him on the other side versus the Jazz, as they are also giving up a ton of points per game. Rebounds, pretty stingy with the rebounds are the Jazz, but they are giving up quite a few assists per game. 7.5 is a pretty low line for Jaden Ivey. He was last year's little darling, right? Everybody was on top of him in terms of overs on his props, right? His assist lines were always like in play. A little different this season with the new faces in Detroit, and also he's battling some injuries, so we're not really getting to see what we saw last season, but minutes have been pretty consistent over his last 5 games. Yeah, so this one was in play. I think this one was in play more so because of the matchup, not necessarily because like of his upside. Like this is his upside, but like if he were playing the Rockets or he did play the Rockets, right? 9. I'm just trying to think of a team that's a little stingier on defense. Maybe this wouldn't be as appealing, but the fact that he has a pretty good matchup with the Jazz and he's on a nice little heater here does make me like the over on this one, despite not getting heavier juice towards the over. I think this is in play. So Jaden Ivey looks pretty good against the Jazz. So we went over Jaden Ivey, went over Colin Sexton's points. Kawhi Leonard. We're just going to go up. Kawhi Leonard. Minus 115 on the over, plus 100 on the under. Back-to-back games of going over with 11 or more. My watch says it's time to stand up. 4 out of his last 5 games, and then 7 out of his last 10. Kawhi is a guy I cannot get right. I just can't get him on the right night. So this is another good spot for him. Should be a competitive game. He should have to do things in this game where he's needed on the court. No short night for him. Phoenix is at full strength, right? No, Durant's out. Scratch that. I still think that the Suns can keep it competitive without Durant. I mean, you got Beal and Book. You have a lot of pieces in that lineup that can score, that can make shots. So still think this will be a good game. But Kawhi, his numbers look good. His projections look good as well. Projected for 10 rebounds and assists. So that one looks pretty strong. All right, Toronto. This might be our last one, and we'll call it a day. Siakam under PRA. Now this one's at 34.5 on Prizepicks, so it did open up at 35.5. It is at 34.5. So that means I would assume that the odds will be in slight favor of the over. When we bring this down to 34.5, it doesn't really change a whole lot with his game logs because he's been going over that line by a lot. So it doesn't make up a lot of the ground. So last 4 games, he's been averaging like 40 PRA, close to 40 PRA. Over his last 5 games, he's gone over this 4 out of 5 games. He's gone over this in 70% of his last 10. Projected for 36.83. We like the under on this one, though, right? We like the under at 34.5. I mean, they are playing the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies are a bit more competitive. Well, a lot more competitive with John Morant in the lineup, obviously. Different team. I mean, I'm curious why looking at the under on Siakam. Is this more of a like he has to come back down to earth kind of thing? Like his average on the season is 33.9, but he's been averaging 37.6 over his last 10 and 39 over his last 5. Like so he's playing above his head a little bit. Are we thinking that he comes back down to earth a little bit today versus the Grizzlies? Like this matchup is not as favorable as it was when Ja was out. Couple different angles there. If you were looking to take the under on Pascal Siakam's 34.5 PRA. But yeah, I mean, his 10-game log looks really good. His 5 games look really good. Projections look really good, and you're getting it at a lower line than you were getting it at originally at 35.5. So yeah, that's Siakam right there. Scotty Barnes, man. His 3-pointers minus 130 on the over. This super solid line, man. Super solid line for Scotty Barnes here. He either gets you 1 or gets you like 8. There's like no in between, right? With this guy, he either goes way over line or doesn't even come close. So that one I was looking at, it got pulled off the board though. All right, I'm gonna pop back into the chat real quick, see if I missed anything. And honestly, I think we might be calling it a stream. Let's see here. I posted a slip to your Discord. Name is, oh, that's you, Jim. Toxic. What's up? Okay, yeah. Everybody has different names, like, so I never know, like, when people join the Discord, I never know like who is who. Yeah, so like if you are on the live stream or if you comment on videos and you join the Discord, your name is different, like let me know for sure. For sure. All right, I'll check that out, Jim. Posture, what's going on? I liking Randall boards. 9 straight versus Chicago. Just worried about Drummond. Also liking Chet on blocks. Bay rebounds and assists looks crazy good for the over. 7.5 he's averaging. We looked at Saddiq Bey's rebounds. His rebounds and assists is at 7.5. Last 2 games he had 11. Yeah. True, what's going on? Welcome in. Happy New Year to you. Your breakdowns are helpful. Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right, let's see. Yeah, so we just talked about Siakam under. What else? Randall. Let's look at Randall's boards. And real quick, we'll go back to Saddiq Bey's rebounds and assists. So we're already I thought we were on the New York game for some weird reason. All right. Boy, Chicago got beat up. I'm so ready for the Bulls to trade LaVine. Number 1, I want to see him on a competitive team. Number 2, I want to see once a team gets past the player and they're no longer in the organization, it does change the atmosphere. It does change the environment, the mindsets. I'm curious to see like what this new look Bulls team will be, and especially if they if they ship out DeRozan and LaVine, because both of those dudes are in trade talks. Boy, I know that's going to be a really, really like underwhelming kind of team, but it will open up a lot of playing time for guys on that team. Maybe we see Kobe White take that next step. I don't know. But yeah, LaVine's been out for like 3 months. Like I don't know. They must be waiting on the fine print, you know, all that stuff. Those contract talks are super, super complicated, I'm sure. So I think the Lakers and the Heat were interested in LaVine. Either one of those teams would be a step up from Chicago in terms of just like upside and like playoffs and possible winning a title. All right, so let's look at Julius Randle. His rebounds right now are at 9.5 over on Prizepicks, on props.cash. You want to see what they are. So they are 9.5 on Prizepicks as well. So it did open up at 9 and is at 9.5. So 9.24 rebounds is his projection. Gone over this in 2 of his last 5, 3 of his last 10. But much like Halliburton's rebounds versus the Bucks, this is a guy who plays the Bulls very well. Wait, am I looking at this correctly? The last 3 games that are shown here are from 2022. Has he not faced the Bulls this season? Huh. I don't know why that's not like more recent. But the numbers are still good. Bulls allowing, bottom of the league in terms of rebounds allowed, and then you can see all the other numbers that they're giving up. Now, this Bulls defense is a lot different without Vooch in there, but Drummond has been stepping up. Drummond's not playing. I'm gonna reload this page real quick. Yeah, Drummond's been stepping up, but Drummond is not logging in like 35 minutes a game. I'm gonna take a look at his minutes though. You mentioned you were worried about Drummond, I guess, because his presence in the paint, he doesn't really like venture off too far from the paint, so kind of clogs the paint, making it a little bit harder for opposing bigs and front courts to grab boards. We're not getting any Chicago Bulls. We got some injury news going on in Chicago. I don't really see anything that would cause a shakeup in the props. So I'm not sure why the Bulls aren't up on the board yet. But yeah, I wanted to just check out Drummond's numbers and compare them to Randall, But anyway, liking the over on Randall, you mentioned his rebounds sitting at 9.5. Yeah, his numbers have not been good over his last 10 games. I don't believe Hartenstein is like cutting into him that much, is he? I mean, is Hartenstein more active on the boards than Mitchell Robinson? I mean, we've seen a huge drop off in rebound numbers for Randall this season. I mean, on the year, he's averaging 9.5. Over his last 10, he's averaging 9. And over his last 5, he's averaging 10. So I do think this is a matchup he can exploit without Vooch in the middle. And even though Drummond is there, but I wish we just had more information, like his history versus the Bulls. I'm gonna keep my eye on this one for today. Maybe once Bulls start getting put on the board, this line moves. If this line were to get bumped up to 10, would you still like it at 10? Maybe take the under on it then. 9.5 is kind of, honestly, I feel like this is kind of like no man's land. 9 is better. You get the push, but 9.5, I don't know. Saddiq Bey. You mentioned Saddiq Bey's rebounds and assists at 7.5. We didn't like, but we talked about his rebounds at 6.5. This is one of those situations where we have a player with two lines that are very closely built. One rebound and or assist separates his rebounding line from his RA line. He's basically averaging 1 assist per game on the year, 1.5 and 1.6 over his last 10 and 5 games. So he has an upside of 4, but I think 1 assist is probably closer to what to expect. I mean, if he keeps rebounding like this, I mean, he can hit this RA line on rebounds alone. So it's one of those situations where you can get like a twofer and you get that extra cushion, that insurance of the assist, but does he even need the assist to go over? Based off these numbers, if this were to continue, like this is way too low. But, we talked about this. Why are the odds in favor of the under on this one? So, yeah. We talked about all the reasons that his rebounds were standing out. Good game against the Thunder back in November. Great 10 games, and then, great 5-game logs as well. So Saddiq Bey's in a good spot. I just honestly don't know what to do with those odds. You can either pay attention to him and play the under or stay away from this, or you can, in spite of what the odds are saying, go based off these numbers, go based off projections, and hope that the Thunder come out a little flat tonight after coming off such a huge win against the Celtics last night. So, all right. I think I think that is gonna do it for today's live stream. Went over a lot of different questions today, a lot of different inquiries and player inquiries. That's a funny word to say, inquiries. But nonetheless, we covered a lot. We went over some odd shopper pick'em table. I'll be building a couple slips today. I got to check out Jim's slip in the Discord as well. But I'll be building out a couple slips. I want to build out one slip based off odd shoppers pick'em tables and just like play some of these unders. I did play a few slips yesterday. They were okay. I didn't get a clean sweep, but I didn't lose money, so not bad. And then I want to build out another slip, just maybe build out a couple of 2-pick plays as well. But all that you can find in the Discord. That link is in the description as well. And then all the links to the new partnership, Stochastic.com, OddsShopper. Obviously, I'm assuming everybody on the stream is already playing at Prizepicks, but in the event we get some newbies coming in and you want to sign up over on Prizepicks, you got that referral link in the description as well. But ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for today's stream. Thank you so much for stopping by. Thank you so much for making this possible and just making this fun as always. Hope the new year is off to a great start. Hope it's treating you well. I'll be back on stream tomorrow morning, 8:35 a.m. We'll be talking more NBA player props. We'll go over how the slips did, and hopefully we got some green slips to talk about for tomorrow. But as I always say, regardless of the player props you roll with, player props you found on this stream, your own, somebody else's, I hope that they all respect the damn coin. I wish you the best of luck. And until tomorrow's NBA player prop live stream, Chavez is out.